All right, hey y'all, we are live from Salvador, Bahia. That's how you say it?
Yeah.
All right, and I'm Osha Cerese, and this is.
Hey, what's up? This is Amar Mansoor or Ahmad Amar Mansoor Ali El Bay Simmons. Brooklyn, New York, but living here in Salvador for the longest time. Been here about 16 years, so you know.
Yes, and we met one night. I was on the boardwalk down by the ocean, and we were kind of looking at each other like, "Do you speak English?" Like, we kind of
Yeah.
just like felt
Yeah, I
like
was
we
like,
might
that
be
look like I
American.
might be my baby. Yeah.
Yep. So we sparked up a conversation, and I was just interested in knowing why you chose here to reside.
Um, well, to put it like super simply, is I chose here because just the amount of black people makes it a way more comfortable place to be. Seeing black and brown faces the majority of the time. Even like the white people out here, and it ain't actually white. They're like whitish. They would be considered Latin in the states. It's a more comfortable, peaceful state of mind. Like it just feels better. It's like a big Brooklyn.
What would you say are some of the misconceptions about living out here as an American?
Well, damn. I'll start off with the most ignorant. Yes, they do have televisions out here, and don't everybody live in the woods. People do live in the woods though,
Mm.
but most of the time that's by choice. You do have a lot of
How y'all doing?
yeah, good bro.
You doing video?
Yeah,
All right, take it.
we do have a lot of like actual native Brazilians. And we can't call them Indians because they're actually like Tupi Guarani, Tupi Guaxini. They have names, the tribes, and they still live in their natural houses in the woods, and they still practice their traditions. So yeah, some people do live in the woods, but there are cities, there are large metropolitan cities like Sao Paulo is 10 times the size of New York. Um, so there's a lot of misconception about that. Crime, another misconception. There is crime out here. It's not like Disney World. You can't just be walking around here, and, you know, being all happy-go-lucky and expect nothing to happen. But it's not like you just walk down the street and somebody gonna throw you in a van and kidnap you. It's definitely not as bad. I just came back from the U.S. and the U.S. is on some craziness. You don't see that type of craziness here. What else? The women aren't easy. All y'all passport bros that be coming out here and people that just coming out here like, on some subvert sexual tourism. No, these are real women, you gotta talk to them, you gotta be able to communicate, build a relationship, unless you're just trying to come out here and pay. You
Mm.
know.
I was going to
It,
ask you about the passport bros. So have you encountered
oh yeah,
a
I
lot?
encountered the ringleader. I was here
Not the
with
ringleader.
Austin Holloman.
Oh, that's the one that got ran out of Brazil.
Yeah, I encountered him just before he got ran out of Brazil, and like I tried to talk to him because I could tell by his demeanor that he was gonna run into some shit. It was probably like 3 days before all this shit went down,
Mm.
and I was like, I got his number. He didn't really want to talk to me, and I was like, well, let's sit down and rap. And he still wasn't listening, and then the next 2 days, all that shit started happening, and all of a sudden we were all passport bros, and
Oh
everybody was like,
no.
well, y'all all you gringos and da 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 da. And I don't understand how it only came down on black folks because white people doing it for centuries. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I ran into some of them. I don't like most of them. Austin Holloman, I don't really got nothing against him. He's mad young, so everybody does dumb shit when they're young.
Mm. But that doesn't explain the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds coming down here.
Yeah,
But, whatever floats your boat. I feel like, you can find love who loves you, go where you're appreciated. But
hmm
to come here specifically to feel like, oh, American women ain't this or that, and I'm gonna go down here and get a Brazilian woman because they don't expect much but an upgraded way of life. Women are women,
yeah.
so you still have to be a gentleman. She still has to like you. So that's my opinion.
And women are women, like
Everywhere.
all everywhere. Whatever you deal with from a woman in the states, some dynamics may be different because of the culture, but like It's a woman.
It's a woman.
You go through all that stuff, the emotional, and all of that. It's there. It's just that's women.
So speaking of love in Brazil, what is like dating life or single life like out here for the average person?
I may have my situation is very particular because I've been here for 16 years, so I speak the language very well. People think I'm Brazilian, a DJ and like model and stuff. So I do very well. Just to say, I do very well.
And tell me how long it took you to learn Portuguese.
3 months.
And what was your method of learning?
Get drunk and talk to kids and people and listen and watch movies over and over in Portuguese and watch cartoons.
So the alcohol helped?
Yes, it helps. Like, 'cause you don't think as much because you be trying to think and how to translate it in your head. And, I got so drunk I just wasn't thinking. I just started talking and people would say stuff and I just repeated right after them. They look at me like I was crazy.
I've never heard that method, but hey, drink responsibly. But it sounds
don't get drunk that you black out and forget. Get drunk enough so you stop thinking so much, and it makes it easy. And then remember that you don't need complex vocabulary, and at least in the beginning. That's disturbing. At least in the beginning, you don't need a complex vocabulary. So if you keep it simple and repetitive, you'll be able to learn the basics really quickly.
Okay. And how would you say you learning the language helped you?
Oh no, it opens all the doors. Once you can communicate fluidly and truthfully, it just opens up all the doors. Just once they understand that they can talk to you, and not only in love but like in business as well. You don't have too many misconstrued lines of communication. It makes everything way easier.
And I notice people out here are very affectionate, very much public displays of affection, sensual, romantic stuff going on. Where does that come from? What's the history of that?
I don't know. I love it.
Because I was in a club last night and they were just full on making out, grabbing throats. I'm walking, there's people on the beach making out. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's definitely different.
It's the warm climate, and then there's not as many sexual taboos as there are in the States. Where in the States you got a whole bunch of closet freaks. Out here, everybody's just outside doing it.
They outside with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're very affectionate and you like to be openly affectionate, this is the place. And I noticed that it's very LGBTQ friendly out here as well. I didn't know that until I got here.
Community out here. So.
Yeah. So it's very welcoming, inviting. Do they have any issues with discrimination of LGBT?
Yeah, they do. There are some. It's still a very machismo, sexist country. So the whole LGBTQ community, they do have a lot of problems. There is some like what they call it, transphobia, homophobia, lesbianophobia. I would say, for people coming from the States or anywhere else, just have an open mind. Don't judge people just because of their sexual orientation or whatever their choice. Everybody has their own choice. It's everybody else's life, and fuck it, let them do what they do, and you do what you do.
So the main thing I hear about out here is that this is the most black populated place outside of Africa. But I'm hearing that the black people here are still being oppressed a lot. So can you tell me more about that and like the experience of being black here?
So yes, Salvador. Well, Brazil itself has the second largest Afro-descendant population on the planet. It's only second to Nigeria. So, there's a larger Afro-descendant population in Brazil than there are in some countries actually in Africa. That being said, it's still a very slave mentality controlled colonialist nation. The Portuguese did a really good job between colorism and religion at like keeping the Afro-Brazilian, Afro-descendants very docile. They haven't had a revolution or civil rights movement. The last great civil rights movement was Revolta dos Malays, which is four Muslim guys who started economic reform for people that make more money. But overall, because there's such a culturally African presence in Brazil that the government lets, thrive to a certain extent. They don't actually try to fight for any other rights. They've recently started, within the past, what year we're in, 2024, within the past 12 years. So, the natural hair movement, uh, empowerment, black empowerment. The women here actually really lead the revolution. Yeah, it's a very interesting fact. Thank you. But yeah, they're still very behind. I would say they're in like the 1950s and 60s. That point of where the United States was at that in that area. You know,
So it's gonna take like a big revolution to get them up to speed on where we're at in America, or what?
maybe not necessarily a revolution in the sense that we're used to seeing it. I think it's going to be more gradual, especially with the influx of African Americans and people of African descent from along the diaspora. As long as we come out and we're bringing our consciousness and our financial ability, our financial prowess, and helping become part of the actual society here, we can make it a smooth transition. But it has to transition.
So share with my audience a little bit about your organization and things that you were working on.
Okay, so since I've been here, and what made me come out here in the first place, I have a social project, which is a community organization called Guerreiros da Luz World Peace Initiative. It's basically based off the after-school centers that we used to have back in the States. So I teach martial arts, I teach capoeira, karate, jiu-jitsu, meditation, laws of attraction, universal laws and principles. Try to have volunteers come out and share what they know and share their experiences. And eventually, I wanted to be an international youth exchange, so I have made partners with the Afro Bushido Academy in Oakland. I've got some ties into Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, Ethiopia, and South Africa. So we want to start, doing those exchanges. Also, we're building a self-sustainable community on an island not too far from here. So if anybody's interested in buying land and interested in developing land, ecologically and making it so that it's self-sustainable and that provides your own food. We have over 1,000 acres that we have access to. We want to build a very affluent black community like the Black Hamptons, but also have the cultural center as the center of the community. So, right now we're on a campaign to raise money to build the cultural center. It's going to be a permanent spiritual and cultural center. So,
That's beautiful. I definitely want to get involved. I have some things I do with the youth, and I got other friends in Atlanta that do things with the youth. So I feel like there's an opportunity for collaboration there. So tell us how we can support you and how we can find you.
Okay. Well, right now, the best way to get to me is on Instagram. You can find me at my personal Instagram, which is dj.amar, AMAR.Mansoor, MANSOOR. Or you can email me. The best possible email is gdlpeace@gmail.com. Once again, that's gdlpeace@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get in contact with me right now. I will be launching a crowdfunding campaign shortly, hopefully within the next week. I'm just waiting for the Hip Hop Congress to get back to me. And that's it. Also, you reach out to her and she'll get to me.
All right. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
I know you got to get off.
Yeah,
And
people calling me and I got to go to work.
I appreciate your gratitude, your great hosting skills and educating me and all of the things since I've been here. This is like your hood, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it was definitely fun hanging out. That turned out to be a cool little afternoon.
yeah. We brought the blackness to a little upscale beach club. It was really
Yeah.
nice.
The staff is happy to see us.
And then we went to Samba. I'm still learning. I'm practicing, so
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But all right, thank y'all.
Thank you.